can transcend that.
Absolutely.
All right. I don't know about you, but I think we should move on to the Heat.
Yep. All right.
Because the Heat were, coming into the NBA free agency start period. We are, Kyle Lowry was the big fish. It felt like, even though DeRozan, I think, was probably a more prolific player in scoring per se, but like Kyle Lowry, we saw what Chris Paul was doing, and we thought Kyle Lowry is going to be that next guy. He's championship pedigree, solid on defense, can do almost everything. And the fact that the Heat got him in the signing trade, the Heat were able to keep Duncan Robinson. They re-signed Jimmy Butler. And they got PJ Tucker. This has been a solid. I think this has been a solid free agency period for the Heat as well. I think they were one of the big three. We talked about the Lakers and Bulls already. I think the Heat were the third of that big three of movers, I guess, in free agency. And they really doubled down on their Pat Riley grit and grind type deal. I mean, Kyle Lowry seems like, he's friends with Jimmy Butler, and he kind of models that, he kind of embodies that in a way at a point guard position at a place where, Dragic did really well for them, thinking about the NBA finals, at least, that, going into that year, he was solid for them. But I think Kyle Lowry is straight up, he's an improvement for sure. So, that's solid. You get to keep Duncan Robinson, so that still allows for like spacing and shooting, even though if Jimmy Butler's not the best, and some of these, I think it's been solid for them for sure. And PJ Tucker just doubles down on that Trevor Ariza role, but maybe a little better, because he actually just won a championship, and it feels like he did a little better job at it. Seeing how he was guarding KD, and some of the roles he played defensively in the playoffs, he could really, I guess, he definitely helps the Heat, I think, and he's an upgrade on Ariza if he's going to serve that Ariza role. I've talked a lot. Tell me your thoughts.
I think the Heat were, they did pretty well. For Kyle Lowry's definitely, I think you mentioned that very extensively. He's one of the guys that everyone really wanted a piece of. Kyle Lowry, I think he's just a good player, helps the culture a lot. Not saying that, I feel like Miami already has, with Pat Riley in place, with Jimmy Butler in place, they already have a very, very good and established culture. I just think Kyle Lowry will add to that.
Mm-hmm.
He has that same kind of personality, same kind of competitive fire that will help this Heat team reach greater heights. He is a little older, so in some ways you would say that he won't be like relied on like primarily as much. But the good thing about the Heat is that they do have so many options there. With Jimmy Butler, with Bam Adebayo, that he can kind of not be that guy that takes all the primary kind of like scoring opportunities, but also just provide them with those critical points when they really need them, and that's what he does best. I think one of the other things is that the Heat kept Oladipo on a 1-year deal.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things they did last year was that they traded from the Rockets to the Heat for Oladipo, and he had kind of like that tendon issue, and so it was something that I guess there wasn't a full evaluation of what he could see, but it was $2.4 million for this 1-year deal that Oladipo signed. And overall, I think that's a win for the Heat to get to see if he can regain some of the magic that he had in Indiana, because he was just so great then. But ever since, like, injuries has just become kind of a problem for Oladipo. So if he becomes even like most of what that was, the Heat are going to be very, very good. Not to say that without him they won't be good, but with him, with Kyle Lowry, these additions, and I guess like re-signings to make the Heat very, very competitive. I think last year was kind of a down year in many ways. A little bit, you could say, finals hangover possibly, but this year I think they're motivated. I think they're hungry again. They, I think they should be a very good team for sure.
Yeah, I think so too. I don't know if this necessarily improves with. So when you're looking at how the Bucks defended and how they were able to beat the Heat, it was basically just, turn Adebayo into a quite a bad. He was pretty bad against
He's
the
pretty bad.
Bucks.
Yeah.
The way they kind of try to form a, what the what people use against Giannis as a wall, they try to do with Adebayo. So I don't know if that necessarily helps with that, and I don't know if their ceiling is raised. But I mean, again, I think this is the Nets. We can talk about the Nets briefly too. I mean, I like the signs that they did with Patty Mills and all of that, but step that aside. That's a digression. The Heat definitely improved. I think. I mean, the Oladipo news slipped my mind. That's huge because now you think about like the depth that they have at the guard position. Before this backcourt was kind of in a ways murky, and now I mean, Duncan Robinson, Tyler Hero is still there. He dropped down, but I mean, he dropped off a little bit, but there's still that
Still
potential.
good.
He can
Yeah.
be, he's good. Uh, Oladipo and Kyle Lowry. So you have four of those, right? You can mix and match in any way. I mean, Kyle Lowry, I guess, is straight up a point guard. But let's say the other three, you can mix and match different rotations with them as point guards slash shooting guards. Uh, well, maybe not Duncan. Maybe I'm just saying those two. Anyways, point is they have good guards, and that's solid to have depth in guards, and I think that taking space around that. And like I said, PJ Tucker is, I believe, an upgrade from Trevor Ariza. And
Oh yeah, definitely.
that I think that was huge. I don't know why the Bucks. I mean, maybe the price was too steep for the Bucks. The Bucks might have thought, but I don't know why the Bucks would have let PJ Tucker go. That's an interesting one for sure. Uh,
Yep.
I'm a fan. I'm solid. I think the Heat are our top five team in the East, for sure. I think they can get back, but it'll
Yep.
I don't know. We will see how far they'll go. If they're able to be, I don't know if they're able to beat the Bucks or the Nets, but you might as well capitalize this Jimmy Butler moment with Miami. The fact that he's just vibing with the Pat Riley culture and that this is all gelling together, and you might as well invest. You might as well put money on it. Your big market team might as well uh, get something out of it and see what this next I guess few years will yield as far as success is concerned. Maybe things
Absolutely.
bounce your way and it works because they definitely have at least a defensive potential. Like they're up there as one of the best defensive teams by far,
Oh
and
my.
it helps that they're a bunch of dogs. I mean, we're I feel like people are just all big fans of the Miami Heat, with how much effort they play with and how much tenacity they play with. That even on offense it can work out, and they don't have that problem that I was talking about. The Lakers might have had last year with giving up. They definitely wouldn't give up even if they're not having the best of nights on offense. So that's always helpful. That's always helpful in the team. That for sure.
Yeah, yeah. One quick aside, I think we covered pretty extensively for Heat, but PJ Tucker, I'm a big fan of him. I always think he is a guy, along with I think the other guy would be Jay Crowder. Tough defensive guys that really bring a lot of success and a lot of help to any team. Those two guys, wherever they go, they've always brought a lot of help for just like defensive assignments, but also just being very good in terms of just like 3-point shooting as well. Especially PJ, just like throughout his time, in Houston with the Bucks, you just saw like his corner three is something that actually becomes very critical for every single team that he's been on. And he always draws the toughest defensive assignments, does a great job with those guys, of course. And so I think PJ is going to be huge for the Heat. So good for them.
Yeah. Uh, Ditto to that, man. I think with the Bucks, maybe his 3-point shooting wasn't the best with the Bucks, but I mean, he still got. We saw how he was with the Rockets for sure. He
Yeah.
can still tap in it. I mean, he's straight up just filling the Jay Crowder role. I mean, I forgot like 2 years ago, the Trevor Ariza role was essentially Jay Crowder, and I guess the Heat just always find this power, the stretch four that is good on defense. The two-way stretch four,
There you
uh,
go.
grizzled veteran two-way stretch four. So he's filling that role.